Welcome to PHP Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Orlando, and we're here for another Monday minisode.
That's right. The Monday minis are one of our favorite episodes. I guess everything's favorite. We love everything. We're just that kind of podcast. Everything we do is awesome. But just kidding. But we love our Monday minis because we get to really focus in on one topic and kind of give a lot of tips and hints in just a short amount of time. So if you've only got 10 minutes.
And hopefully everyone watches it through.
Yeah, of course. This is like your shot of espresso. You're getting the jolt right away, the things you need. And then of course our longer form podcasts on Wednesdays. Those typically go over an hour and we talk about a lot of different things. So what are we talking about today, Orlando?
So decided, due to the fact that we've been getting a lot of DMs, a lot of messages and some of the posts, and it's always a question that comes around, and we have done full episodes about Q4. So go check out our videos or our podcast and check our lineups. We usually drop those episodes about Q4, like late July, early August. And then we have a few that trickle on, during the next couple months. And then probably around November, December, we drop one more because we talk about how things shift and how they change and how to adapt. So this question we get a lot. And it's, how do I do retail arbitrage for Q4? Right.
Yeah. And when it comes down to retail arbitrage, Amazon is going to be king. Now you can definitely make money doing eBay. And so some of these are going to apply to eBay, but a lot of it's going to be Amazon. And so one of the first things that people need to do when it comes to Amazon is, even if you're not ready to start reselling on Amazon and you just kind of want to get a feel for what it's like and you want to know, okay, how do I figure this out and what toys I should be buying or what items I should be picking up? You might hear people talking a lot about rank and things like that. So you need to get the Amazon seller app on your phone and sign up for a seller account. You can do that. It's a simple process.
It's free unless you want to go to the professional, which if you're not going to sell on Amazon, you don't need to.
Right. And so one of the first things that you want to do, though, is once you have the app, you can, just like on eBay, but it's a little easier because usually when you're doing retail arbitrage, there's going to be barcodes you can actually scan. You're not.
Does eBay lag on your phone when you try to do the barcode?
Sometimes it's not too bad, but a lot of the times you're at garage sales and thrift stores, there's no barcode. You're like looking up, trying to figure out keywords and stuff. But here we actually get to scan, and once you scan something, one of the first things you're looking for is the ranking. And if you're kind of new to it and you're trying to figure out, one of the keys you're looking for when it comes to ranking is a lower number. So you got to almost think about it like running in a race. You want to be in first place, not in 150th place, right? Like that's what we're looking for. So the lower the number, if somebody says this is ranked under 100 or under 1,000, that means we're closer to the front of the pack. We're closer to the hot items that are selling quick, because the rank is going to be telling you which items are moving quickly. What are the number ones? It's like when you're looking up a movie or you're looking up something and it's like top 10 on Netflix, or that's what we're looking for here. We're looking for the items that are moving quickly. They're so popular. And so if you can get your hands on them, chances are they're going to sell quickly.
Yeah. So let me break it down a little further. So, you can do retail arbitrage on eBay. I don't want to, come off and say, hey, the only place is Amazon. The reason Mike said that about Amazon is the velocity is unmatched when it comes to Q4 and toys specifically, on Amazon in a comparison to eBay. Now, on eBay, you can sell a lot. But the reason we say that if you're not going to do Amazon, download the Amazon seller app, is that the algorithm is pretty accurate. And so, for example, if an item's under 1,000, chances are that's going to sell within a day on Amazon. On eBay, it may take a little bit longer, maybe 2 or 3 days a week. It all depends. I recommend on eBay, if you're selling an item that's hot, but there's a good amount of resellers on Amazon selling it, you probably need to discount the price. You can't have it at the same price as Amazon, but sometimes you can have it even higher. So you got to see what items are selling for. So for example, right now, there's an item that I can flip. I can pick it up for about 50 to 60, and it's going to sell for about close to 200 on Amazon. Unfortunately, on eBay, it's only selling for 100, 125. So you have to weigh in, is it worth it? Because you're also dealing with free shipping, right? So if you're doing free shipping on eBay, that's going to cost you. If you do free shipping on Amazon, if it's FBA, it's not that big of a deal, right? So you got to measure those two. On top of that, you also have to understand that on Amazon, you can sell lower priced items, like lesser profit for like $2-3 an item if the ranking is low. Because if it's under, let's say under 500, and you're only making $2 to $3 per item, that's okay. Because if you buy, let's say 20 of them, they're going to sell out within the hour at the height of Q4. And so you're instantly making, a 60, 80 bucks, whatever it was. And you just got to ship those out. And it's probably going to be pretty easy, but you got to measure all that. And you got to see the amount of sellers. So if there's, 100 sellers on Amazon and you're thinking, hey, I want to sell this on eBay, it's probably a no-go. Because you're also dealing with the competition on Amazon, then you're dealing with the competition on eBay. So I would pass on those. But again, Amazon Seller Rank, it will definitely help you pick the best items, even if you're just going to sell them on eBay.
Yeah, and that kind of goes up with the next thing is like, okay, then what do I sell? I mean, obviously, I'm looking for something that's got a low rank, or that number is lower. So what? Like, give me the item, right? What's the bolo? What's the fingerling? Well, there's no substitute for walking into a store, taking a day, taking a few hours, and walking up and down an aisle and scanning item after item after item. That's really how you have to do it. I mean, it's a grind. It's a grind to find that thing, but it's like you're trying to claim your part of the mine, right? You're trying to find gold. Once you find gold, you can keep mining it, right? Like, this is the spot where the gold is at. I'm going to keep going for this item. But you might have to scan 100, 200, 1,000 items, and it might not be a toy, right? It might be a toy, but it might be a seasoning, right? It might be a clothing item. It could be anything. I mean, it's just going to depend on you looking and scanning, and there's really no substitute to that. And a lot of people want the quick fix. What's the item? And here's the problem. If you can get it quickly and easily, find out what that item is, so can somebody else. And it's going to be too competitive. You're not going to make money there. So it's actually better for you to find those things, if you can, that nobody else is picking up and selling. You don't have that competition on eBay or Amazon.
That's a great point. So, for example, you can do a lot of this sourcing online, right? There's actually software out there that it will actually run. Like, you'll set parameters and it will run that software to find items that are profitable on Amazon or even eBay. And it'll do it, with, let's say, Target or Walmart, the big box stores. But I am 100% in support of what Mike says about going out there scanning. I've said that since day one, because there are certain stores that you can't run software on. So there's some off-price stores that they don't have, the inventory online with, a background program that you can set up. I don't know, you call it the API or whatever it is. Right. And so you can't run it. And so therefore the access is more difficult, which gives you as a reseller a greater advantage if you are out there scanning, because then you find an item that the people at home aren't willing to go out there and source. And so I strongly recommend scan. Now, there is the simple one. The simple one, there's two of them. There's one is you join a Discord. But when you join a Discord, there's also the issue that Discord, whoever they share that bolo with, is all those individuals in the Discord are your competition now, whether you want it to be or not. At the same time, there are other Discords which may come across the same bolo. I can't tell you how many times I've had somebody message me like, hey, check out this item. And they're from a Discord. And they're like, hey, don't say anything. And we never say anything, right? So if you want to share, we're good with that, right? But what happens is that most of the time, I would say 90% of the time when I get hit up with the DM about a bolo, I'm already on that bolo. I've already known about it. I've already been selling it. So think about just me individually, who does not do any kind of Discord, does not, join any kind of group. And I found those items on my own. All you need is another 100 of me in this country, and the competition continues to grow. So be aware of that. And also the other thing is, a lot of people love the software, and I have nothing against the software. I'm not mentioning names because, they haven't sponsored us or anything. But if there are, let's say, 1,000 people using the same software and they're putting parameters like they wanted 2x their money, they wanted 3x their money, they want to go to this big box store, guess what? Everybody's going after the same item, right? So, like right now, I've been searching for a certain item at the big box stores. I've only been able to find 2 out of maybe 20, 30 stores I searched. And I figured out, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore because I'm pretty sure that the software is, this is pretty good profit. The software is showing this, and it's time for me to go back and scan again.
Yep. You gotta go into that scanning. And one of the things too, is you can start to get frustrated. You found a few things and you spent a couple days scanning things. Maybe you found 2 or 3 items, right? You drive in your local area, you drive 100-mile radius, and you're picking up these items. And the next thing you know, it's like these stores are now empty. Well, you can give up and maybe look for something else, or you can realize stores are going to restock, right? And you need to be pretty consistent about hitting stores, going to those stores, finding out when they're restocking. And maybe you realize, hey, the Target or the Walmart or the whatever store you're going to in my area doesn't have it, but there's like a town a little ways over and it's a different clientele there. People aren't picking up stuff there. And so you've got to be willing to go to some different stores. You've got to be willing to be consistent and figure out when those restocking times are. Figure out, are they restocking at night? Are they restocking in the mornings? Do they restock on Wednesdays? And if you're consistent and you're going, you can start to get that information. And again, part of it could just be like even where we are in San Diego, right? In San Diego, there are parts of San Diego that the clientele is very different than 10 miles east or west, right? It's you walk into one Walmart and you're like, you feel like you're in a completely different Walmart than you walk into another Walmart, right? Like the people are different. The things that the advertisements that they have are different. Like it's a very different store. And so just recognizing that the item you're looking for might be gone in your area, maybe because there's other competition, or maybe it's because the clientele of that store is going after those items. So be willing to drive a little bit, be willing to be consistent to hit up those stores.
Now, another thing I wanted to add to what Mike is saying is you also want to be able to understand when restocks happen, because then that will tell you when not to buy anymore. Like you have to be careful. I mean, I still have fingerlings. You see the fingerling above me because I was not aware. And I think a lot of resellers were not aware that there was going to be this huge fingerling restock.
Yeah, and when you say restock, we're not talking like, hey, the store has 10 of them. And then like a couple weeks later, there's 10 more. We're talking like now there's like an entire end cap of hundreds of them.
Yeah, and that is it's a sick feeling when the week before you source like 100 of item and then you show up the next day and there's a full restock.
Yeah, there's a display in the middle of the aisle, taking up another department,
and it's not empty.
Nope,
it's fully stocked. No one's been touching it. So you also have to be careful in Q4 to check for those restocks. Now, there's a tool I think that is really helpful if you're doing both Amazon and eBay for retail arbitrage. I really do believe eBay will be a go-to for a lot of people this Q4 in comparison to others. Unless, I heard talk about the National Guard maybe dealing with the ports. And
wow.
That would be an interesting
But even if they did, I know we've got like a shortage of truck drivers too. So it's
maybe they'll be driving trucks. Maybe we won't use our military to protect us. Maybe we
need stock. Christmas.
That's what people signed up for.
This is the real
people stock shelves.
This is the real war on Christmas right here. We need to get our items in the stores.
Anyways, there's a tool called Keepa.com. Now it is free. There is, if you want to have advanced use of it, that you do pay a fee monthly for it. But there's two things that you could get for free from Keepa. One is you can see how high the price of an item sold for before, right? So, you're like, hey, I don't know how much the list is for. I don't know what people are willing to pay. It'll tell you, and it'll actually correlate it with when Amazon had gaps in inventory. So if it's fully been stocked by Amazon, it'll be orange. So if you see something that's just orange the entire time on that chart, that means that item has never gone out of stock. But if there's continual white spaces in between the orange, that means Amazon keeps running out of stock, and that may be a good item to pick up. But you'll also see when there's those white gaps that the price goes up. So you want to make sure that you are careful to use Keepa.com. I think that's going to save you a lot of money. It's going to allow you to price things right. And you're going to avoid competition with Amazon, whether you're selling on Amazon or eBay, because of using Keepa.com.
All right, very good. And kind of going back to that idea of knowing when restocks and knowing when things are going on. One nice thing is, and we've talked about this in previous episodes about how to make good connections, but the more that you are inside of a store, the more that you're going to stores and you're friendly with the people and you're not being rude, there's always this negative connotation of resellers. But from my experience, I made a lot of really good connection with workers. You're being polite. Things are in the wrong spot. You move it back to the right spot. You put stuff in your cart and you decide you don't want it. You go put it back. And you're not that person that they're like, this person is making my life miserable. You might be able to make a connection where you can just ask them like, hey, do you know when this stuff is going to be restocked? What have you noticed any toys have been like kind of really hot? Like it's
such a key question when you ask that question.
Yeah. I mean, cause if they're in the toy aisle all the time, right? Because I used to work at Target and I wasn't in the toy department, but there were a couple times I'd go stock stuff. And even just like the times of like, we got to go in the back, we got to get stuff. And when you're in that area and you got every other parent coming to, and they're like, do you have the Elmo this? Do you have the Elmo this? Do you have the Elmo? I'm like, man, I guess this thing is the popular thing, right? Like you just hear. And so, yeah, if you can ask like, hey, so what have been the toys that parents have been freaking out about? Or like, you guys have all the toys parents are looking for? I mean, there's a lot of ways you can phrase it, and you might be able to get that information. They're like, no, man, we cannot keep the whatever game in stock, or we can't keep this in stock. Like people are going nuts for it, right? That's information you can use to go, I think I know what I'm going to be looking for.
And then sometimes there's the vendors that are there. So let's say it's the Hot Wheels vendor or the Nintendo vendor, whatever it is. Asking them gives you a lot of clues. So for example, one year, do you remember the, was it Communism Monopoly or something like that?
Oh, right. Yeah.
That was like a really hot item. And
it was probably the Millennial Monopoly, but
there's the communism
one.
Well,
I know there is one, but that was big.
Yeah, that was big too. Nice. And that was big because I got pulled from the shelves. But I knew ahead of, a lot of people, because I had seen a vendor stocking, I think it was Hasbro, whoever does a Monopoly. And I had asked him, I said, hey, I've been looking for this. I think it was Marxism Monopoly. I don't remember what it was. I said, I've been looking for this item. I just haven't been able to find it. Are you guys planning a restock? Because I also wanted to know, like, is it worth me even looking? If you're going to restock, it's not worth it. And they're like, no, actually, we're not going to be stocking these anymore at Target because Target has pulled them. And then I knew at that moment the prices are going to go up because there's going to be scarcity, right? So it doesn't hurt to talk to the vendors, talk to employees, develop that relationship. You never know. You may come in one day and they're like, hey, Orlando, or Mike, or listener. They're not going to call you listener. And they may say,
they might.
I know you've been asking me about this item. And guess what? I think it's in the truck in the back. We're going to be restocking in about 3 or 4 hours. Come back and you will have the first access. So you never know. Always build relationships with individuals. It's well worth it. All right. So hopefully all these tips helped you all the way from basics of downloading the Amazon seller app, using tools like Keepa, going to stores consistently, making sure that you understand when things are restocking and when there's going to be a restock, and so much more. And make sure to always network with employees. And with that being said, make sure to be real,
be relevant,
and be reselling late.
Peace.